Hi, I want to do a quick plug for the CyberKnife. You see at the top of this particular display, cyberknife.com. If you go to cyberknife.com, you can find the location of the CyberKnife nearest you, the hospital that has a CyberKnife facility. My prostate cancer was killed in 2007 using a CyberKnife in the hospital nearest me. It took me about 45 minutes, 5 days in a row, while I remained fully dressed for my prostate cancer to get treated uh, each day, 45 minutes each day, 5 days in a row, without surgery. That's the key phrase. For me, the key was without surgery, without being cut upon. I remained fully dressed, did not have to get undressed at all, and I just laid down in a custom-made cradle that the hospital made for me, and I remained still. And if more people know of the CyberKnife, uh, then more people can stay healthier longer. It kills not just prostate cancer, but it also kills and defeats tumors or cancers anywhere in the male or female body or brain without having to go through surgery. There's no cutting involved. And the reason that I have the ribbon, the crimson color of the Spartans, if you're familiar with the movie 300, then you will be aware of the crimson color of the Spartans. I had the ribbon made that color in order to show support so that anyone who is aware of the CyberKnife or supports defeating prostate cancer for the month of September to wear the crimson color of the Spartans. Because September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month every year. Hi, I'm going to do something very different in this demonstration that I haven't done in other demonstrations before, in other presentations before. What I'm going to do in this presentation is show my miles per gallon over a period of several days. Typically in one recording I show my average miles per gallon at the end of one trip on a given day. Instead, I'm going to show several days worth of averages and how my average has been trending. And now all I need to do is, well, first what I'll talk about is a basic operation, the theory of operation of how the Cadillac ELR and the Chevrolet Volt, that is the extended range electric vehicles made by General Motors, work. First of all, they are in fact electric cars. The wheels are driven by electric motors. So the car is designed to be, the way the car is designed to be used is to plug it in into a standard 120 volt outlet and let it charge. And then once it's charged, once there's electricity in the power supply, then the car can be driven without the motor running. Now the motor in the Cadillac ELR and the Chevrolet Volt is a generator. It generates electricity when the electricity in the power supply becomes depleted. Unlike many electric cars, the Chevrolet Volt and the Cadillac ELR both carry their own generators. The engine is an electrical generator. It's used to generate electricity for the car when you're driving, for example, when you're driving long distance. Okay, now with that done, I'm going to go ahead and find, okay, there's one, August 6th. I averaged 109 miles. I was consuming gasoline at the rate of 109 miles per gallon. I could have gotten 109 miles off of 1 gallon of gas. And in the left side of the readout, you see 49.3 total miles is what was driven, and 16.4 miles was driven using the generator or the engine. I manually shift to pull electricity to engage the engine to generate electricity. I do that on a regular basis myself. What I've discovered after looking at several days worth of printouts, I've decided that possibly I can get more consistent results if I would allow the computer in the car to, if I would just leave it alone and let the computer in the car do things for me automatically. Okay, but this was August 6th in 2015. And here's August 7th, 2015. I was consuming gasoline at the rate of, well, I could have gone 127 miles on 1 gallon of gas. Because I drove, you see on the left-hand side of the display, I drove 46.9 total miles, and I consumed a little over of 1/3 of gas. And once again, I'll repeat myself. What I do typically is, when I feel like it, I will, or when it's convenient for me, I will turn on the generator, which is the gasoline engine, and allow it to generate so that it will generate electricity. I don't wait for the computer in the car to do it. I do it myself based on based on traffic conditions, and what I feel is going to optimize my energy efficiency. And maybe if I let the computer do it for me, it would be more consistent. But again, in this particular time, I was consuming gasoline at the rate of 127 miles per gallon. And now I'm looking for another display. And here's one, August 10th, 2015. I was consuming gasoline at the rate of 102 miles per gallon. I drove a total of 47.9 miles. And for 18.2 of those miles, I used the generator or the gasoline engine to generate electricity. For 29.7 miles, I used electricity that was in the power supply. I used 0.46 gallons of gas, almost a half a gallon, a little less than a half a gallon of gas to go 47.9 miles. And once again, this shows how manual intervention in the system can drastically modify the miles, the fuel, the energy efficiency of the vehicle. Like I said, I manually manipulate or change drive modes to try to optimize it the best I can. It's just a guess. But I'll move on to the next slide now. Okay, now here's one where I drove a total of 52 miles. And I consumed gasoline at the rate of 104. I could have driven 104 miles on 1 gallon of gas. I drove 52.0 miles. I used 0.5 gallons of gas, a half a gallon of gas to go 52 miles. Because, as indicated by the circle, most of the circle is green, and the green portion indicates the percentage of that 52 miles that was driven using only electricity from the power supply without the generator or the engine running. And for 12.8 miles, or the blue portion of the circle, that's graphical indication of the percentage of that trip that I used the generator or the gas engine to generate electricity. And it does vary you'll notice that it does vary from slide to slide, as is indicated by the numbers. And this was August 12th, 2015. And now I'm looking for another slide later on, after August 12th. Okay, here's one where I averaged only 78.1 miles per gallon. That's right, only 78.1 miles per gallon on this particular trip. I averaged only 78.1, but you see, coincidentally, my lifetime average here is 78.1 as well. And that's a hell of a coincidence that they both are 78.1. My lifetime average on the car, for as long as I've owned the car, is 78.1. And on this particular day, I averaged exactly 78.1 miles per gallon. I drove 50.7 total miles. And this is another excellent example of how manual manipulation of the drive modes can greatly vary the energy efficiency of the vehicle. This was September 3rd, 2015. And here's one from August 24th, 2015. 151 miles per gallon was my average for that particular day. My lifetime on that day was 77.6. I drove a total of 47.3 miles. 10.7 miles I used the generator or the gas engine to generate electricity. For 36.6 miles I used electricity that was stored in the power supply from when the car was being charged. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, but once again, this is just another example of how manual manipulation of the controls can vary the energy efficiency of the vehicle. And there's another one from 151 miles. And here's one from 8/27/2015, 121 miles per gallon on that day, with a lifetime average of 77.9. And that lifetime average is going to slowly go up. And here's August 27th, 2015. Again, the lifetime MPG is 77.9. And on this particular day, I averaged 120 miles per gallon. I drove 52.2 total miles. 0.43 gallons of gas was used. Less than a half a gallon of gas was used to travel 52.2 miles. And here's September 4th. My average on September 4th on that day for that trip was 108 miles per gallon. I drove a total of 48.8 miles. For 35 of those miles, I used electricity that was generated or electricity that was stored in the power supply. For 13.6 of those miles, I used electricity that was coming from the generator or the gas engine. The gasoline engine is an electric generator. It generates electricity because the car is driven by electric motors. And that is true for the Chevrolet Volt and for the Cadillac ELR, the EREV vehicles both produced by General Motors.